Hello, beautiful human being, whoever you are, that is taking the time to listen to this video. Welcome. Um, a few days ago, I posted a video talking about timing versus planning, introducing this idea of living your life from your mind, where you're constantly planning the future and trying to control the direction of your life, versus living from spirit, living from soul, living from your connection to the universe, and allowing the perfect timing of life to guide you and tell you where to go in every given moment, and surrendering to the unfoldment of life instead of trying to force a particular direction. I say that because as I begin this journey on YouTube, creating these videos, I ask myself how I want to do this or why I'm doing this. And I'm doing this because in that same awareness, I personally am realizing that my soul, my connection to the universe, my spirit is telling me that it has something that it wants to say. It has messages that it wants to share. The thing is, I don't know who my ideal listener is. I don't have a particular course to sell somebody. I have a ton of experience, a ton of wisdom, so many things that I can share, but I don't have that markety clarity about, what searchable, SEO friendly, catchy videos I should create so I can gain traction on my YouTube video. All I have is the clarity that I have something to say and that I want to say it from the most authentic, truthful place. And as I spoke about in my other video, as I grow, as my connection to my own soul and my own spirit is cultivated more deeply, the more I realize that I don't actually know much about where my life should go. And so the intuition is, instead of planning my videos, which I don't really have any notes or anything when I do these videos, I need to just sit with myself and feel into whatever is present in the moment and trust that the message that I feel in my heart to share in that particular moment is the right message to share. There have been moments in my life where that has been super clear, that connection has been super clear, and I've been in this deep state of connection with this spiritual side of me and living my life from that place. But currently, I find myself in a new reality, a new situation where, as I have made the decision to embrace my responsibility as a single mother more fully, and have made the decision that I want to give her everything that I can in these last 5 years before she's 18 and she starts creating her life, a lot of my energy and a lot of my time is spent in this kind of masculine energetics, not like male, female, this masculine energy where it's like, I got to pay the bills. I got to make sure I fulfill all my responsibilities at work so I can get that money, so I can pay for her school, so I can pay for all her activities and, pay for gas and pay for food and and all the things. And I'm all the time like in this kind of fatherly role, I guess you could say. And when you're very much in that masculine, it's not, and when you're not just very much in that masculine because life is requiring it in this moment, but you're also kind of like tired because of being in that, you don't have so much energy and time to just be this free spirit that's just like creating art and doing what you want, which I am an artist, and that's why I'm saying that example. And so that connection that you always had, that connection that I've always had, suddenly I'm like, where is it? It's like, if you're not spending any time in silence with yourself, where are you sourcing the messages? How are you getting clarity about what decisions to make, how to move forward? You're making all your decisions from a reactive place of ego and human logic, which, as I said in my other video, it makes no sense for us to live that way when it's such a tiny little computer in comparison to the grand wisdom, intelligence, and knowledge of the soul and the spirit, right? So I don't know what's going to happen with this little project of creating videos, but I do know that I have to trust myself, and that trusting ourselves, I share this because for me, and for you, this is like a message for both of us. Trusting ourselves isn't just like loving ourselves isn't just a thought. It's not a feeling. It's a way of life. It's a way of making decisions. It's a way of actually doing things. It's how you choose to organize those 24 hours that you have in your day. So if I have this intuitive thing that's been telling me for many, many months, you have to create content, you have something to share with the world, you have important work to do, and I just ignore that, then do I trust myself? And if I ignore that and I don't actually take the action that shows that I actually listen to myself, will it even make sense for me to receive more messages from my soul and my spirit on what I should do, where I should go, what I should like, what's the next step? Isn't that just step one? And only if I do step one will I get to step two, right? So I'm going to do this in a different way than my mind tells me that I'm supposed to do this. Because one of my biggest blessings is my intelligence, and it's also one of my biggest weaknesses. You might relate to this if you consider yourself a spiritual person, or not consider yourself, but you have this like desire to connect more deeply to spirituality, and you're simultaneously like a very mental person like I am. Like, I've always been really good at school and I'm kind of a nerd. I know a lot about a lot of things. I love to read books. I love information. And because of that, in the last almost 7 years that I've been deep in this process of, or deep in this world of content creation and digital marketing, I've consumed so much information, like such an insane amount of information about strategies and marketing techniques and, whatever, how you create viral videos and like, all these different ways of creating successful online businesses and funnels and da 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 da. If you've been in the digital marketing world, learning about digital marketing even for 1 year, you know what I'm talking about. Then multiply that by 7. It's just so much information. So I have a strong connection to spirit. I have this capacity to receive so much information, and I have a very active mind, an intelligent mind that is always trying to plan. That is capable of seeing 20 steps ahead. It's like in some areas of life that's amazing. And in other areas of life, like when you're just trying to be a happy person following your heart, it sucks, because I want to just be able to take the step and trust in the step. If you hear any like background noise, I'm sorry. I live in Mexico City and I just don't want to have to edit videos. So if you heard whatever, somebody honking their horn outside, whatever, sorry. So I want to be able to take that next step and trust that knowing that next step is enough without planning the future. But my mind is like just really fast, right? So there's this tug of war. There's this inner battle on like the mind is saying, no, but we need to make sure it makes sense in the grand scheme of things. But spirit heals by guiding you to a direction that you least expect, asking of you to take the step without actually knowing, so that by taking the step without actually knowing, when you take the step and things go well, you realize that you don't actually have to know. That's the way that spirit works. That's the way that the universe works, right? So I don't actually know why I came into the, I don't actually know how I got into this tangent, But I guess I'm just sharing that I'm going to create this YouTube channel in a different way. I have so much knowledge about digital marketing. I know what I'm supposed to do, and I'm choosing to let all that go and to do this practice of not planning the video with all the notes, of sitting in silence, asking what needs to be shared, and then sharing that message, trusting my soul, trusting in spirit, knowing that in spirit is actually where we are all connected, and in spirit is where we actually know how we can best serve others. Because when you have like a mission, when you have a calling to do something with your life that is of service, which many light workers and people are feeling, because I truly believe and feel and see that humanity is awakening, you are called to serve others. And in that service and in that path, you're actually also serving yourself, because essentially that is your journey of growth. That is your journey of transformation, because with greater power comes greater responsibility, which with more reach, more responsibility. And so as you follow that path, like follow that calling that is telling you come this way, it is required of us that we are willing to trust, willing to let go of control, willing to consider the magic in life, willing to do the thing even though we're scared. Because essentially, if you're saying, should I listen to my mind or should I listen to my heart? When we're used to making decisions from the mind, because that's how we've been taught to do things, it feels safer, even though it's actually not what's best for us. And listening to the heart feels really dangerous because of everything I spoke about in the other video, and simply because the mind is the one that feels scared. The mind is the one that wants control. And so to live your life from this new reality and synchronicity in timing and connection to self and connection to soul, and in the next step is enough. I don't need to see the steps after that. We're required to face our fears, because when we move in that direction, the mind's going to be like, no. Like my mind right now is just like, this is ridiculous. I can't believe I'm like recording this video. Like I should have a clear question that is responded, so that when somebody looks on YouTube, how to become more, wait, no, if somebody searches like, what is intuition, or like 5 steps to become powerful, or whatever, all the questions that people can do. But there's a feeling in my heart, there's a feeling inside of me of like, ugh. I feel the ick with creating videos of like 3 strategies to become more resilient, 4 steps to connect to your intuition. I'm not trying to speak negatively of people that do that, because many people that do that are quite successful. And I would imagine that many of people that do that also are authentically desiring to serve humanity. There's nothing wrong with wanting to make a business and, make money. But I'm just saying my body tells me not to do it. And I've been fighting with myself about this for years. I know that the reason that me creating content and offers online hasn't been as successful in the past as I wanted, because I was unable to fully lean into just the intuition and the spirit guidance of how I was supposed to do things. And I think that, to add one final thought to this little rant that I've decided to record and I'm going to post, is that I had this clarity a few years ago that we are each individually our own path. What do I mean by that? When you're in this world of personal development and when you are a person that is wanting to share wisdom to help others, we don't know how to do it, we look around for answers. So we look for the strategies and we look how other people do it and we want to replicate it, because if we replicate it, then it might work for us too. For me, it's never worked. Replicating other people's strategies, even though I have a ton in my brain, has not worked for me. And I imagine that for other people, it also hasn't worked. And what I've learned from that is that even though there's a lot of value to learn from other people's success and how they've done things, that in the end, in the core of it, in the truth of it, we are not meant to do the things or live our lives in the same way that other people do. Even if we tried with all our might to do exactly what other people did to reach their success or whatever, to reach the objectives that we have, because maybe like we want to become, really successful in a particular industry, and we see somebody else that does it, even if we tried really, really hard to copy everything they did, we would be unable to, because we could copy the actions, but we wouldn't be able to copy what's inside of them, the feelings, the thoughts, all the other factors and dynamics that they have in their lives, their relationships, whatever. And so I actually realized that the reason that it's never worked for me to copy other people's strategies is because one of the messages I've received and have clarity about is that I'm meant to be unique, and it's not just me. We're all meant to be unique. And even when we try not to be unique, we are unique. But what if we leaned into that? What if we realized that we're literally, with our decisions, with our lives, creating a whole new path? Yo soy mi propio camino. It sounds so much more poetic in Spanish. I am my own path. I am my own path. I can't think of another word for it, but in Spanish it sounds way more poetic. So what I'm getting at is that in trusting ourselves and making decisions based on what our heart is telling us, I believe we'll actually be on the right path, quote unquote, right path, because essentially it means it'll be the one with the least amount of friction. I think you learn the same lessons in whatever direction you go, but you just take longer when you listen to your mind, because you take constant detours. And I have been taking constant detours for so long. And it's like at some point I have to ask myself, do I really believe that my spirit knows what's best? I've quote unquote known this for how many years? I don't know. I started on this journey of spirituality in 2010, like almost 16 years, okay? We're told this at the beginning of our journey. Go inside to look for the answers. The answers are within. They're not in a course. They're not in a YouTube video. They're not in a book. They're not in somebody else. The answers are within. So if you're on a spiritual journey for 10 plus years and you know this, quote unquote, know this, but you don't live by it, do you actually know it? That's the other thing that's becoming very, very clear. If you don't live by it, you don't know it. So what is the point of all this spiritual information and wisdom when we're not actually doing the thing in the way that we know we're supposed to do it? So I'm excited, and I'm not going to lie, this is not going to be an easy path for me, because I love to plan, my brain loves to plan, and because I have way too much knowledge in my head. I don't think that's a good thing in this particular case. So I have to make the decision to not plan and to sit in silence, ask myself what I need to share, and just share it without a filter, without over editing, without doing all these markety videos, without feeling like it needs to be perfect, letting go of my desire to seem a certain way, knowing that whoever needs to listen to this and is going to connect with me is going to listen to this, and whoever doesn't, I hope they don't watch this. And if they do and they send hate over, because I've had that, which is something that keeps taking me on detours, because I'm like, people are being mean, to just accept that that's what's going to happen, that some people are just not going to like it. So if you don't like it, maybe this is just isn't the right video for you. So anyway, I hope that, not I hope, I choose this path. I'm going to do this. If you're watching this now, like in real time, like in 2025, wow, hello, welcome. And I say that because I also intuitively know that there will become a time when this will be the video I posted in the past, when the obstacles have been removed, when the path has been lived and I'm on the other side of the fear. And then if somebody watches this in a few years, it'll be interesting in a different way, if you catch my drift. So anyway, I could continue on this rant, but I probably shouldn't. Well, no, it's not that I shouldn't. It's just that I want to go to the gym to work out. So I'm going to leave it here. And just end with saying, if you are, again, listening to this in 2025, thank you. It's really, really lovely that you're one of the first people to follow me on this journey, because up until this point, I've created all my content in Spanish. And I have recently decided to create content in my first language, which is English. So I'm kind of starting from zero now. So if you're listening to this now in 2025, I honor you and I appreciate the universe for crossing paths. And if you're listening to this in the future, interesting. Anyway, if you are interested in learning more about how you can work with me, I do one-on-one sessions, and I also offer breath work in private sessions and group sessions. You can write me in my email that is in the description, or you can write me on Instagram. I put my handle down there. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.